That's like horrible. Hello. Yeah, I was looking over today. So we can, I guess, check out what you have so far. Maybe, but why? Why you tell her the right one? Ma, I don't care. I don't care. Like in the next hour or so. All right. Okay. I'm trying to see. How do we work YouTube live? I need a better lighting. Let me see. I think I'm gonna go to the table. Go to the table. Wow. I'm going on my phone and see what it's sounding like. What we are running from, we are running toward is the topic of today. Too many times we are led to believe that we can run to the church, we can run to a therapist, which is not necessarily a bad thing if that therapist is about holistic healing. If that therapist is about healing your inner child and dealing with your trauma and abuse that you experienced as a child. But too many times we have been led to believe that there is a savior. There is somebody coming to save you. There is nobody coming to save you. Let me see. How can I? Okay, so you can see it. Interesting. Okay, so you can see it. Interesting. So what I'm doing now is me watching me. All right. We have been programmed to believe that we can run from the very thing. Like the devil, we've been led to believe that your true self is the devil. So we've been led to believe that we're supposed to run from the devil, that we're supposed to give all our worries to this outside source, that somebody is coming through the clouds to come and save us. We have been programmed to believe that the church and narcissism is love. We have been led to believe that loving our true selves and healing our inner selves and going within ourselves is demonic. So the very thing that we run from, we're running towards, because you're running from the spookiness, the darkness, the griminess within yourself, just to have to meet that same darkness when you exit your meat suit. We cannot get around the truth. We cannot make excuses for not dealing in the truth. We can pray on our knees until our knees create sores, and you still gonna have to face that which you run from. There is no way around it. And when I think about it, like there is a very the fear that the church instills in the people and the children is real. You truly believe, and that is a form of religious abuse as well, because anytime an organization is based around fear and implementing fear to control and manipulate you, then they want to keep you afraid and keep you from seeking the real, the true, the you, the real true you. They want to keep you afraid of you. And we have been programmed to even demonize the people who have recognized who they are at the core, who have learned to love themselves and be authentic and operate in their purpose through authenticity. What I've realized on my journey is, hold on, I'll be right back. What I've realized on my journey and through my experience of being a Christian and being in a church all of my life and some of my adult life, I made a decision to not be a part of that cult early in my 20s, maybe late teens, so like 19, early 20s. I made the decision the first decision I made was to stop paying tithes to the cult organization. I started to wonder what was the point. I started to wonder what was I benefiting from contributing to an organization that I did not completely understand, that made no sense to me, that has so many loopholes in the Bible. You couldn't question anything. most things was demonized that I wanted to do, or things that made me happy. It was demonized, or I was called a Jezebel. So I had issues even as a child, and I will ask certain questions, and those questions were either dismissed or given me very surface level responses and answers that did not satisfy that craving that I needed at that time. It was like, okay, I'm asking you, where is God? Who is God? How did this God create this world? Why can't I see this God? And you have no answers for me. I thought that was strange, even as a child. I thought it was strange that they constantly want us to disrespect, or they constantly use the Bible to justify all of their bull crap and bad behaviors and abuse and disrespect, and how your own family will shun you if you do not abide by that which is demonized in the Bible. I thought that was strange as well. Why are we following a book that will demonize your own flesh and blood just because they decide to do something that they want to do with their own life that they're entitled to do? It was just a lot of things that just didn't make common and logical sense to me. It just didn't. And how it says to honor thy mother and father, and that's constantly beat and drilled into the child, but then they skip over the fact that it says don't provoke your children. So it's a lot of manipulation. It's a lot of justification. There's a lot of narcissism in the church. There's a lot of demonizing in the church. So, and then they create a space where you're totally dependent on things outside of yourself, in a pastor, in a God, in a, everything else other than you. They want you to ignore who you are. They want you to become and transform into who they want you to be, and rules that you need to follow. So it always gave cult to me. And even when you look up certain words like cult, look up the word cult. You need something to say. I'm on live on YouTube. Huh? Oh, it's still recording me. Okay, cool. So I can search at the same time. Okay. So let's do this. And why did everything had to be male dominated? Was another question that I had that could not get answered. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, I feel like my grandmother told me that God is a man and he created the man and then he created the woman, which is the total opposite of the truth once you realize that woman creates the man. There is no woman that came from the rib of a man. I have never seen that in a day in my life. Okay. So cult is a system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. A relatively small group. Okay, so it could be a church, religious order, denomination, something that you're obsessed with, something that you're manic for or about. So it makes you crazy, basically. It makes you idolize craziness, disorder, and respect disorder, because you're giving reverence and respect to this belief system of idolization and craziness, discord. So, and then they become excessive and obsessed with the devotion to this belief system, typically following a charismatic leader. I noticed that it's like a switch turn on when the pastor is in the pulpit preparing his sermon and he's talking, and then all of a sudden he goes into this hack. That's a part of that whole persona of having the authority to speak over the congregation and people's lives and manipulate them through their charisma and leadership, keeping you entranced in the belief system of the occult, the occult that you're obsessed with. It's like you're worshiping the pastor. Taking part in a sinister practice. Now let's look up sinister. Let's look up sinister. What does sinister mean? Because the very people that demonize the awakened beings and the conscious beings and the beings that love themselves and go within and heal themselves are demonized according to the definition of cult. Okay? When in fact the religious sects, the religious are actually the ones that take part in sinister practices and demonstrations. Let's look up sinister. The sinister by definition is menacing, threatening, ominous, and there's a lot of threatening that go, a lot of bullying and harassment. Lots of forbidding, okay? So giving the impression that something harmful or evil is happening or will happen. This is the energy that the pastors of the churches operate through. And if you do your history, and go back in time to slavery, when they were allowing the Black preachers of that specific plantation to preach to the slaves, they only allowed them to implement their teachings through harmful, covert, harassing attacks, or constantly remind the slaves that if they don't obey to their master, that something evil is going to happen or will happen. And even in the slavery times, they will call it the spell when the slave gets an idea to want to challenge that slave system of dominance and control and abuse. They would literally say that that slave is under a spell by using their own critical thinking and realizing that the system that they are a part of, the cult that they are a part of and having to obey, is morally wrong, and it goes against who they truly are at the core and their nature. So what they would do is the slaves that became under the spell, they would send them to the pastor and request that the pastor prays for them and put them back under that sinister spell of harm and evil. So it's like that same type of mindset is the same mindset that is operating through the church in any cult religious system. The church was built on narcissism and racism, control, domination, harassment, fear. There is no wholeness in the church. There is only broken, unhealed, traumatized, entranced people in the church that don't even realize that they are being abused. They have somehow dehumanized themselves and convinced themselves that the teaching, the atmosphere, the thoughts, the prayers, the beliefs are somehow going to save them and keep them from exactly what they're running from, which is the darkness. Which is the trauma, which is the abuse, the unhealed child within themselves. Very disturbing. Very disturbing when you actually sit down and you think about it and you do a little research and you do a little search here and there. What this mean? What that mean? Okay. So making you feel like something bad or evil will happen. The church distorts the mind and the soul. It fragments the soul so that your perception will be only that of fear. So you fear yourself. You fear God that's outside of yourself. You fear the devil. You think that you're going to go to hell if you don't follow what this book tells me to do. Then I'm going to go to the devil and I don't want to go burn in hell. Fear is what they implement to keep you in the cult. Okay. Ominous, frightening. All of this will still trace back to fear. Let's look up the meaning of fear just so we can get an even broader meaning. Because they play on the emotions to keep you entrapped and entranced and keep your mind from wandering about a new thought or a new idea. They use fear, the emotion of fear, to create unpleasant experiences to keep you accepting the manipulation through fear. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief. Belief keep popping up because you have to believe what they're teaching you in order for the magic and manipulation to work. So an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, like to cause pain or threat. My computer froze a little bit. So fear is the main emotion that creates. So technically, the congregation is contributing to the illusion of the church based off the fact that they're fearful and do not want to question anything, because the programming of the church and the sinister spirit of the church tells them that if you question anything outside of this belief system, you are a direct threat and sin to God. You can't question God. God is the one, the only, the true. I'm on live, so hold on. I am. Hold on, I'm on live. Give me a second. I need some socks and shoes. The one true God. You cannot challenge. I don't want to be a part of no organization that I can't organization that I cannot question, that will help me understand what am I getting myself into? Is this good for my soul? Is this good for me and my mental health? Is this good for my peace of mind? If I can't question this organization, I don't want any parts of that. Because it sounds like to me, this some bullshit. This sounds like to me that this is an ambush and you trying to set me up. What's going on here? It seems like it's a threat to me. I don't want anybody to feel like anything that I say, you can't go research yourself. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to go research it yourself. Don't rely on me. Don't depend on me and my knowledge and wisdom and experience. Go and look for these things yourself, because I cannot save you anyway. The pastor cannot save you, never. Nobody can save you, not even Jesus and the God that you worship outside of you cannot save you. It is a lie. It is an illusion. It is a manipulation of your soul and psyche. It is to keep you from tapping into that divine feminine energy, which is the source, primordial energy. That is the darkness that the church wants you to run away from and never connect the dots. Never question, because if you question things, you would obtain new knowledge. If you question things, now you're turning from their wicked ways and you're stepping into your own power. And as long as you are giving this cult, religious cult, your power, then they can thrive off of your power. So this is why they make sure that you do not even get the idea to question things, anything outside of what that Bible says and the interpretation that they're giving you. Because I can even read the Bible today and get a different interpretation from a pastor, because I have soul experience. I've been reconnected to source. So this is how also a church person could read the same Bible for 50 plus years and never gain the truth of what they're reading. Even though, okay, the Bible was stolen from the Sibyls in ancient times, okay? But we're just going to focus on the fact that the Bible, words in the Bible has to be decoded. And you cannot even fathom the decoding of the Bible if you don't question the Bible, if you don't question the teachings, if you don't connect to source, and if you don't go within yourself and ask yourself these questions. There is not a book that will save anybody. I'm going to just go ahead and put that out there. There is not a book that will save anybody. You can read all the knowledge that you want. You can have shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of knowledge, but lack soul experience, then you're still not going to be accepted into the sacred spiritual realm, the true sacred divine family system, because it only comes from soul experience. That's something that you cannot deny or lie about. It's too much fraudulent activities going on in the spiritual community and any other religious community claiming to be spiritual. I can tell when a person is truly a part of the divine family system based off their experiences. What have your soul experienced and transformed, overcame, healed from? If you can't tell me those things and I don't feel a resonance on a soul level, then I know that there's still some work that you are not dealing with. There's still some shadow work that speaker is not facing. You cannot skip over the shadow work. You cannot skip over the traumas and heal yourself from the inside out and think that you're going to be accepted into the sacred space in the heart, because it comes from the heart. This is how a person cannot lie about. A person can lie. Yeah, they can lie about being spiritual. But to the actual source, you can't. Because the great mother knows us by our fruit. She knows us by our spirit, by our soul connection, by our source connection. And that only comes when you've healed yourself. Not prayed to, not believed in, not trusted in. No. You have to trust in yourself, in your soul. You have to do the work. Nobody can do the work for you. That is where free will comes in. Nobody could override somebody else's free will unless you give them permission to do so. And we in the church has given people in the church give their willpower right over to the pastor every time they go to church and believe in a system that is a cult. Every time you give yourself away so you can use me. Y'all know that song? That's how they go to church, just as blind as they want to be. I give myself away. You need to be giving yourself to you so that you can use yourself and walk in your power and change your perception. Because there's a whole new world that you're missing out on because your mind, is connected to fear. The root of your perception is embedded in fear. So your perception is distorted, just like your soul. You seeing this 3D reality from a fragmented perception, an illusion. Because you're scared that you're not going to make it into heaven. You're afraid, and you've been told, and now you've given your belief over into believing that you are going to go to a place that is burning. But tell me, how does a spirit go to a place that is burning? Hell is a state of mind. Hell is a level of consciousness. Let me show you something before I get off here, because I gotta go. This here is what I mean. This red represents the root chakra. Okay. And down here, this is the root chakra all the way up to the crown. Okay. The church plays on the fragmented and imbalanced state of the chakra system that is in your body. Okay. It's in your spirit. The bottom being fear. Okay. So if they can keep you in a state of depression, despair, distress, nervousness, anxiety, panic, pessimism, rage, rejection, all of those that I just named, the root of that is fear. So anything that you're experiencing and it's having a negative effect on you, and you're a part of an organization or a system, the matrix system, it's all built upon fear. And that fear manifests through your distortions, through your distorted perceptions, manipulating your experience in this reality to keep you in a slave mentality and keep you fearful to not wanting to run. They don't want you to develop the spell of running away from the master and questioning the abuse, because it's still abuse. Just because it's in the church, it's still abuse. It's spiritual abuse. It's exploitation of your willpower. And as long as they're exploiting your willpower, you're going to operate from a place of arrogancy. You're going to operate from a place of being judgmental to others, being extremely sensitive to criticism, having a lack of purpose, a lack of divine purpose, feeling like you're superior than somebody else because you're following this religious book to a T. So that makes you feel like you can judge somebody else and somehow you're superior and they're inferior to you. That's all an illusion. It's all a lie. Makes you feel like you need to compete. Okay? You're contributing to the abuse upon yourself, and that is the biggest sin of them all. That is the sin. There is no other sin. The sin is you not believing who you are, you not walking in your purpose, you believing that there's a God outside of you coming to save you. That is the sin. The sin is also the pastor exploiting, or the church exploiting, or religiosity exploiting your solar plexus, which is where your willpower lies. That is the sin against self. You are the church, your temple, your body is the temple. You are the church. So again, what we run from, we run toward. There is no way around shadows. There is no way around the dark night of the soul at this day and age, because our ancient ancestors, to the 9 ether beings, the carbonated beings that look like me, our ancestors, they didn't have a Bible. They had a way of life, a lifestyle. They was automatically connected to nature because they resonated and vibrated at the level of nature. So they didn't need to do inner healing and shadow work and heal the traumas of childhood, because they had a lifestyle. They had a divine lifestyle. They had a way of life. It was just who they are at the core, and it manifested in their community, their divine community. So they did not need a book. And earlier I heard that's why they had symbols. If anything, they communicated through symbols. Symbols are forever. Words can be created, changed, distorted, manipulated, but a symbol, the Great Mother communicates through symbolism, synchronicities, vibration, frequency, resonance. And if you're stuck at the root chakra and your chakras, your lower 3 chakras or any chakras are imbalanced, you don't get to go into the sacred kingdom. The sacred, I'm going to say kingdom for now, because it's a state of mind. Heaven is a state of mind. Hell is a state of mind. So, and we create that. So if you're allowing yourself to be manipulated by outside agents of the matrix through your distorted perceptions and your distorted chakras, then that's the experience that you're going to have, which is a hell state of mind. When you decide to take your power back and you decide to heal yourself from the inside, and you face the darkness within, the shadows within, because it's healing there, and you choose that consciously, no matter what, then you will enter. Then and only then, you will enter the space with the Great Mother.
Mom, why don't you make your video?
I don't know why. Hold on. Oh, with my glasses?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a seed planted in your childhood. There were seeds planted in your childhood that contributed to the trauma and abuse, the toxic karmic cycle. We must dig within ourselves, go into your inner garden and dig, get to the root, question your own behaviors. Start to research things. Start with who created the Bible. Start with why am I always agitated? Why am I always fearful? You can literally look this stuff up if you want to look in a book. You can literally look this stuff up even on Google, and it will help you navigate the ways that you have adopted as your true self. It will help you navigate in what ways you have adopted the ego version of yourself as your true self. The ego creates these false perceptions of who you think you are. It's a false personality. And I truly feel like as empaths, it's easy for an empath to maybe turn narcissistic, because you see it happen a lot in the church. But it's not easy for a narcissist to turn into an empath. You have to already have emotions. But even a narcissist was traumatized in their childhood. Even a narcissist went through trauma. Because empaths are people who are highly attuned to the emotions of others. That's something that a narcissist lacks. They don't know how to empathize with others and place themselves in other people's shoes. Takan, go close my door. And it's very important. And see, boundaries. Sometimes it's hard for empaths. A lot of empaths are in the church. A lot of empaths have a hard time setting boundaries between themselves and others because of that high level of emotional attunement to others. They care so much that sometimes they care too much, and it costs them themselves. It's like you're giving yourself away all the time. Most congregations in the church are being manipulated by a narcissist, the pastor, and the congregation is probably full of empaths. I can see that connection. I could see that connection, because then they start to feel this connection to the pastor, and it appears to be real to them, not knowing that you're in love with the persona you created in your mind of that pastor, of that lover, of that friend, of that family member. That narcissist is just good at manipulating and charisma and creating a personality that resonates with the empath. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Empaths feel what other people is feeling at a deep emotional level. So if you got a bunch of empaths that are unhealed in the congregation, or if you're an unhealed empath in relationships, any form of a relationship, you are a person who could be easily manipulated, and you're a people pleaser because you don't have the healthy boundaries in place to protect yourself. Unhealed empaths become very codependent on others. You're looking for you in others. And most of the times, you're looking for you in a narcissist who does not know how to feel on a deep emotional level. But because you're an empath, you could see the potential of that narcissist. And then you create illusions and delusions of the persona that you want this narcissist to be, which is something they will never be. So as empaths, as people who can deeply feel emotions and discern what others are feeling, and it goes beyond empathy, it's highly important that you work on yourself and heal yourself and create healthy boundaries, because empaths naturally attract narcissistic beings narcissists target empathic people. And see, the problem comes when that empath is healed and that narcissist is attracted to that empath, but they don't know that that empath is healed. And now they got a problem on their hands. And you have officially beat them at their own game. Because it's a game to the narcissist. It is a game to be able to manipulate the high vibrational, empathic, deep emotional beings. It's a game. And as long as you're operating from a broken version of yourself, then you're going to always find yourself in a space with narcissists who do not love you, who cannot love you, who don't want to love you, only want to manipulate you. And they play on your brokenness. Trauma through childhood taught and programmed the empath to believe and not trust on intuition. So you can feel things, but you don't trust what you feel, and you believing in things that don't, creating personas of people that don't even exist. You're creating defense mechanisms to help you sustain the presence of a narcissist. They're abusing you, or why they're treating you the way that they're treating you, when you know how you feel about them. You know you're giving them nothing but pure love, and they don't receive it. Instead, they exploit it. Instead, they disrespect it. Instead, they dismiss it. Instead, they abuse you. They talk bad about you. So the empath must heal, because the narcissist cannot. A narcissist is just exactly who they are. They are narcissists. Is it possible that they could maybe choose? If they choose. But narcissists don't have the ability to empathize and feel. They want to avoid their feelings by any means necessary. They only seek to manipulate. They're power hungry. Okay? They're arrogant. They feel inferior. So it is psychologically impossible for a narcissist to transform into an empath. But an empath can transform into a narcissist. But I feel like if an empath transformed to a narcissist, they could always come back, because it's that seed in them was already in them from the start. Dark empaths transform, I feel like, into that narcissistic energy in order to survive. It becomes a defense mechanism. Okay? You are at risk for mental strain as an empath, as an unhealed empath, because you're taking